welcome back to the TMCJ podcast. We are on segment 2, our media segment. We just talked a lot about Christmas traditions and superstitions and such. And now we're on to what would have been talking about Christmas movies, but we actually watched, it was Alicia's choice this week, and we watched what I wanted to call I kept wanting to say St. Vincent's, but that's a hospital in Worcester. It's St. Trinian's, which you just reminded me in the break there.
Yeah. At first, I thought you were talking about Boondock Saints. Because you just remembered Saints.
Yeah, yeah.
I like that. But yes, St. Trinian's. The
much,
first one.
Yeah, very much in the line of... it reminded me of, in a weird way, of... Oh, what was it? There were two movies like put together that I'd seen before. Well, one that I'd seen and one that I'd heard about. It's very much in line with what I think the movie Mean Girls is. I've only seen bits and pieces of it. Mostly when I went over to a friend's house and they were watching it.
I can't remember ever seeing Mean Girls.
It's very much like the high school drama kind of movie.
Right.
Where it's just girls, like... It's whereas this movie seemed to be all the girls banding together and doing something. That movie is very much all the girls tearing each other apart and bullying each other. So, but a little bit of that combined with Spy Kids. That was the other movie I was thinking of.
Yes, very, very Spy Kids. I would have probably loved this film as a kid. As an adult, there were definitely funny parts.
But there were more cringy parts.
There were quite cringy parts.
Although there were bits that made me laugh. What was it? The one that made me laugh right off the bat was when the girl wants to be taken home and she's not, like, she's begging her father to take her back because she doesn't want to stay at this boarding school. And she's like, I don't want to be here. This place is like Hogwarts for pikeys. And I just fucking lost it. Is that an offensive word in the UK?
What, pikeys?
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, it means...
It's like rural people, right?
It means a thief.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, I always thought it was just like I thought it was like you guys' equivalent of like calling someone a redneck or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, in the same way that you can have multiple meanings for like the word chav, it's
Okay.
But, yeah, for me, it's always been someone who steals stuff.
Okay. Yeah. A little bit more education going on in this segment, but no,
Yeah.
The movie. The basic premise of the movie is that you've got a girls' boarding school in the UK, and this girl who has very clearly been to a better school before is all prim and proper, and her dad drops her off at this place, which is very clearly the opposite of that. There's like, debris all over the place. I think when she's walking in, there's one girl being dragged like by another girl on a tractor. There's all this weird like semi occult stuff all over the place. When they go up to the receptionist at the very beginning, like the receptionist is like barely paying attention to them, and then she finally blurs awake, and she says something along the lines of, when I've been drinking all weekend, my brain just isn't there until Wednesday. And she looks at the girl, and she's like, oh, you know what I mean. And that sets the tone right off the bat.
Yeah.
And so it's very much like just go on. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, have you seen Tracy Beaker?
Mm-mm. No,
Okay,
I haven't.
Might not be a thing of that. In fact, it almost definitely isn't now I think about it. Yeah, the whole girl rebellion genre, I guess.
So she goes there, and it is exactly what it looks like, and it's just like basically all the kids there don't do any actual schoolwork. They have instead,
and yet they're all geniuses in their own way.
Exactly. That's the thing. They're all like what's the word I'm looking for? Misunderstood geniuses. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and then they have like the stereotypical cliques, the emo kids, but they take it to a degree that I don't think you could get away with in the U.S.
How
Like,
do you mean?
the popular girls running essentially a sex hotline.
Yeah, I don't think you get away with that these days. I mean, this is an old film.
Yeah, what was it? 2000. It was mid 2000s, like 2008, 2009, 2007, something like that.
Right. I'll have a look.
Yeah,
Keep
yeah,
you talking.
yeah. Look at that while I go over the plot more. But so essentially, these girls, they through a contrived series of events, they end up having to pull off a heist, and they decide to rob an art museum, both to get back at the main character girl's father because he left her there and tried to, basically sell her down the river, and to also save the school because the school's about to be foreclosed on.
So that film came from 2007, but by the looks of it, it was based off of a film from 1954.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Black and white.
Huh. Somehow I feel like that would have been I'm curious how much they brought over to the new one. But yeah, so they have to pull off this heist. They do, and of course, because they're all geniuses, there's some silly stuff that happens. Some stuff goes wrong, and they use their wit to essentially outsmart all the people who are arrayed against them. Get the money, pull off the heist, frame somebody else for it, and they all live happily ever after, I guess. So
Well,
it's
maybe not, because it's the second film.
Is there actually a second film?
Yep. And it's got David Tennant in it.
That's what? Oh, that'd be interesting.
Yeah. I can't really remember. I the second one I'd seen previously, I think, but it was like so many years ago that I don't remember what happened. I just remember David Tennant.
So hold on, there are two Doctor Who characters in
Yes.
these movies because the first, the ditzy receptionist, was the chick that's currently playing Doctor Who, and then David Tennant, which was, I think, probably of the modern Doctor Who, is probably the best one. He's in the sequel. Like, that's
Yeah.
interesting. But yeah, it's very much, if you go into this expecting like a serious movie that's going to challenge your preconceptions or make you,
I don't think anyone would go into that movie
No.
thinking it's serious.
it's just it is very much a movie that's probably for like young teens.
Mhm.
And I don't know. You're right though. Watching it as an adult, there were quite a few moments where I was just kind of cringing, like, oh,
The
that was
fucking the one that really like just shivers was the scene at the beginning where they're making fun of the new girl, and they do that kind of Black Mirror-esque shit where they're recording her, and I really
yeah.
don't like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was more like that was kind of played for laughs, as if it was just like, oh, they're just messing with each other. I was like, that's really fucked up.
Yeah, that is super fucked up.
Yeah, I think the bit that at the beginning that made me cringe was when they were introducing all the groups, and they were like, oh, this is this clique, this is this clique, and I don't
Yeah?
know. I always find that in cringe. Even when I was in high school, I found that cringy because we didn't. Maybe it was just my year was odd, but I feel like my high school year didn't have really well defined like cliques.
They're never as defined as that, but there was always very clearly the popular kids, and then there's
Yeah.
the quieter kids that just want to get by on their own.
Maybe
I
those
don't know.
those groups exist and I just didn't notice them. I just talked to everybody.
As they proved at the end, near the end of the film, when they were giving her the makeover, you can make one person look like any one of those groups,
Hmm.
which I thought was quite a even if it wasn't meant as kind of a meaningful thing, but
Let's
it was really highlighting that you can be any one of these people.
yes, let's try to draw meaning from this like tween.
Well,
movie. But no, I agree with you. I actually agree with you that I think that is actually a really good message for for a movie that was just like silly fun, I think it actually had a lot of very positive messages in it.
Mm.
Like especially considering like they're shooting guns, they're blowing shit up, they're blowing off all their schoolwork, but it had some positive messages in it about like, getting along with people, working together for a common goal, and how, that makeover scene exactly where we're all kind of the same, and we can kind of make ourselves into what we want to be. There were surprisingly a surprising number of good positive messages in the movie, despite the fact that it was really just like a funny, silly movie for tweens.
Yeah.
I am saying tweens, by the way, and not teens on purpose, because I think this is aimed at like 11, 12, and 13-year-olds probably, if I had to guess.
Yeah, or even younger, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just brings me back to days of school.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
There were a couple things that I can't figure out. The criminal guy, the one that's kind of employing them to make like bootleg vodka and repaint cars and stuff like that. Oh yeah, there's a criminal enterprise being run out of the school at night by this random like criminal character, and he just seemed kind of useless.
Yeah, he was kind of meant to.
I guess he was just meant to be the butt of the joke, but I just kept expecting him to have his moment, and he just never did.
I mean, if they name one, and I'm not meaning I'm not taking any offense by what I'm about to say, and I hope no one else thinks that I am. There's no smart male characters in the entire film.
The headmistress,
considered a woman.
Yeah, I know. I know it's somebody cross-dressing. Also, by the way, that's a point on the bingo card. You gave a disclaimer before you gave your opinion.
Did I? Ah, shit.
But I agree with you. And
bamboozled again.
I think that, I don't know, maybe obviously it was on purpose, but I agree with you.
Yeah, it's a satirical thing. I think it was well played, and it's the right thing, and they did the right thing with it.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying why his character was always going to be the butt of the joke. Because it's
yeah. I think the only one that even approaches being like relatively competent was the minister guy, the minister of education guy.
What, the one who had his trousers pulled down in the
and then gets kicked out a window,
and then a bunch of yeah,
that guy.
I don't think so.
But like I said, I think he's the one that comes the closest. I didn't say he was competent. I said I think he comes the closest to being competent. But you're right.
I would say he was probably the least competent because, I mean, at the end when he like opens the curtains and he's completely nude and he's just like, who does that?
Yeah, there's something that goes along with that. I think it wasn't. I didn't find it like weird and objectionable in this. There are two varieties of like girl power movies, right? Or girl power media, I guess, or TV shows or episodes. Because I feel like every TV show that came out in the '90s had to have a girl power episode. Which there's two ways to do it. There's the good way to do it, which is this one, and the way they did it was, they made all the girls like they were all intelligent and competent, and they worked together and they accomplished a goal, right?
Yeah.
It showed them working to accomplish something and just being successful through just being good at what they were doing and trying to get it done right. Then there's the bad variety of it, which is, oh god, like I hate coming back to this movie because we haven't talked about Marvel in a while, but Captain Marvel, that movie,
right.
I finally got around to watching it, and it's just, it's a girl
Have
power.
you heard they've replaced her?
Did they actually?
Yeah, they've actually taken her out and they've replaced her with someone else.
Oh, interesting. I wonder if the new actress will. Yeah,
I'm sure they will have been a lot more careful.
I mean, the actress was a dumbass, but that's most actors are dumbasses. I am fully capable of separating the art from the artist, but in the movie itself, it was very much a girl power movie, and they did it in just a bad way. They made the message was just she's invincible. Okay,
Yeah.
it's not. If you want to like, because there's it's not just like girl power. They do this with a lot of different movies where they're trying to send a message. There's a good way to send a message, and there's a bad way to send a message. And the
Yeah.
good way to send a message typically is like you kind of show someone, like you want to empower somebody to do something and accomplish something, and you show them like other people just like them going out there and accomplishing and doing that thing. The bad way to do it is just to show the person at the end point already awesome and already doing that thing, and just be like, look at that person, that's just like you, you're already there. It just, I'm describing this poorly, but
I think
hopefully.
to put it more simply, I think the best way to show when it's been done good or when it's been done bad is that in not something Saint Trinian's, it was not the women versus the men. There were quite a few men on the good side.
That's a good
So I
point.
don't think it was about.
Yeah, it
that.
wasn't antagonistic.
No. Captain Marvel, with exception to like, God damn it, what's his name? Eye patch dude.
Oh, Nick Fury.
Nick Fury. It seemed like, or at least from what I've heard, it seemed like it was mostly a gals versus guys kind of thing.
Yeah, you're right. It was very much like
So yeah, it's fine to have a joke and fine to have a laugh at the expense, but don't just make it and then say because they're evil.
Yeah, I think that's sending the wrong message, because the message of the movie is what every single man on Earth is there to put you down and oppress you. It's just, I mean, the truth is always more complicated than that. There's good people and bad people of all races, sexes, and creeds.
Yeah. But moving on to a more happy topic for this.
Yeah, more happy and safe. Christmas. I mean, hold on. This is the Christmas special. We haven't talked a single bit about any sort of Christmas movie or media.
Well, I was going to talk about Scarface, but...
Okay, well, we haven't watched it yet.
I know, exactly. I was going to say I want to watch it, and I've been like... Because of payday, I've been like...
Yeah.
It's been bleeding into my mind.
It's a movie that I have wanted to see for a very long time.
Yeah.
I was actually talking to my dad about this yesterday too, and he sang its praises and wanted to tell me more about it, but then when he found out I hadn't seen it, he's like, okay, I don't want to spoil it for you, you have to see it.
Yeah. That's good. Okay, some more Christmassy themed films. The Muppets. Treasure Island was one when I was a kid, which I haven't seen in flipping forever.
I don't think I've ever seen it. I know it exists.
Really?
I don't think I've ever seen it.
I think it used to be a Christmassy film. I don't know if they still play it. I don't watch much TV these days.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Yeah, I had that on VHS, and I remember watching it at Christmas quite a bit.
Christmas movies that I watched as a kid, like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, that was a big one. The Grinch, the original one, the animated one.
I was never a fan of the Grinch as a kid.
Let's see. Oh, there's one that I'm thinking of, and I just can't call it to mind.
Die Hard. There you go.
I did not watch Die Hard as a kid. Oh, It's a Wonderful Life. It's a Wonderful Life. Do you know that one?
No.
It's a movie. It came out in like the late 40s, I want to say.
It sounds depressing.
It's not, actually. It's fairly uplifting. It is depressing. I mean, it's about a guy who almost kills himself and then learns to, just like through literal magic, finds his way back to his family and happiness, and learns that, his problems were small in the face of all the, the joy that he's built for himself, his kids, his wife, his community. It's a very uplifting movie.
You sure you're not thinking about Yu-Gi-Oh when he gets his grandpa stolen?
God damn it. No, I am not thinking of Yu-Gi-Oh! But if you haven't seen it, maybe that might be my next pick, because my next pick is probably going to be sometime around Christmas itself. And it's a good Christmas movie. It's just very, it starts off very dark, but just becomes very uplifting by the end of it. It's just very good character development, and it's all in black and white, by the way, too. It was a black and white movie.
Okay. Right.
But just excellent.
I know a Christmas film.
What?
Have you seen the... Oh God, what was it called? The train one. The animated film.
I know the one you're talking about.
The
Christmas
Midnight Express.
Wait. Is it Midnight or Christmas?
Pretty sure it's the Midnight Express.
Alright, well, it's an express of some variety.
Yes, the kid... I hated that film.
I never saw it.
The reason I hate it... As a general film, it's not bad. But there's a couple of things I disagree with. First of all, what kid leaves their house in the middle of the night, climbs on board of a random fucking train that's in the middle of the street? Anyway, just really, it's like watching a horror film and being like, why would you open that fucking door, you idiot? Kind of thing. Second thing, which is arguably the thing that I dislike most about it, is there is a particular scene where he gets into a train carriage which is filled with puppets and mannequins.
Oh, that's creepy.
It's really fucking creepy. And I was a kid when I watched this first, I think. And I was not ready for it, because it wasn't a very cheery film in general, but it was nothing like that. And then suddenly it was on that, and I was like, holy shit, this is terrifying. And it only lasted like 2 minutes that they were in that train carriage, but it really threw the film off for me.
So, I haven't seen it. You're doing a great job singing its praises. So there's a similar movie that I had an experience with. There's a Christmas movie called, I think it's called like A Christmas Story or something like that.
Right.
It's considered like a Christmas classic. This was a
Not
movie.
a Christmas Carol.
No, not A Christmas Carol. Although that is another one that I used to watch as a kid with Scrooge and everyone else. So, A Christmas Story is... So it's a movie that I think quite a few people around... excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied here. Quite a few people around me, like, always grew up, like, watching it. It was the same fucking people that had the whole Elf on the Shelf thing.
Right.
Swearing more than I should this podcast. They would just, I don't know, they'd sing his praises. The basic premise is this kid, and I'm going to describe it very unfavorably because I hate it.
Okay.
This kid is begging for, like, a BB gun for Christmas, and everyone around him is like, "Oh, you shoot your eye out," and then I heard that cork, and then he finally gets the BB gun at the end of the movie, and then he shoots himself in the face.
What the fuck?
The worst part about the movie is he doesn't die.
What?
I
How's that
hated
bad?
I hated that kid so much. When he shot himself in the face, I was clapping.
Oh my God.
We watched it in school, like around Christmas when the teachers didn't have anything to teach, but we were mandated to be there. They'd occasionally just put like a Christmas movie on.
Yeah.
And that was one of them, and that was the first time I saw it. I hated that movie, and I think most of the people who liked it, it was just nostalgia, because my problem was the main character. Like, the kid is the most obnoxious, entitled piece of crap human being that I can imagine. I'm, again, describing him very unfavorably. He probably wasn't that bad. He just annoyed the crap out of me.
Right.
And he goes through the entire movie, like, whining until the very end of the movie. He finally gets what he... So he doesn't shoot himself in the face in particular. He fires the BB gun into a piece of aluminum siding. It ricochets off and hits him in the head. So it's a ricochet with a BB gun. He's fine, but he's freaked out because, oh God, I actually shot my eye out. It's like, well, it serves your ass right for everything you did in this movie.
Right.
I just, it's a considered a classic Christmas movie, and I think the only reason it's considered a classic Christmas movie is because of nostalgia. Like, some people watch it as a kid, and so they show it to their kids, and they keep going and continuing the life of this god awful movie.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, okay, we're very cynical people, clearly. Um, I have actually thought up a Christmas film I did genuinely like. I cannot remember anything that was bad about it.
No.
Are you able to think up one?
Well, I just said. I mean, It's a Wonderful Life. That's a Christmas movie.
Oh, yes, sorry,
Absolutely
yes.
loved it. Christmas Carol. That one. Absolutely loved it.
Very good.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. That's a more kiddie one. I love that movie. I think
Yeah,
there
yeah.
there are genuinely Christmas movies that I watched and I loved. That
Mm.
was not one of them. Like I couldn't, and I think it may have been expectations too, because before I'd seen it, I'd heard people talking it up. Like when the teacher said he was going to put it on, everyone was like, "Oh, this is the greatest movie ever!" It's not greatest, but it's a great Christmas movie. Everyone was excited to see it,
Mm.
and I think the hype may have made it worse for me.
Probably one of my favorite Christmas movies. Probably my favorite Christmas movie now I think about it. Um, and it's probably not one that many people would think of, or at least remember. But the Magic Roundabout.
I've
Is
never
it,
heard of that.
you never heard of the Magic Roundabout?
No, this may be a British thing.
With
Mainly because we
Dougal the
don't really
dog?
we don't call them roundabouts over here either.
It's a merry-go-round.
Oh,
Please tell me you know what a merry-go-round
I
is.
know what a merry-go-round is, but I do not know the movie.
Okay, the Magic Roundabout. Honestly, I couldn't tell you much of the lore of the world, but there is a pre-established like set of characters, and it's just a really fun and cutesy animated Christmas film. And yeah, you're following this derpy looking doodle dog and Doug the dog. Maybe no, that's a different film. That's up. Um, yeah, no, it was very colourful. There was good action. There wasn't any stupid, scary bits. That honestly, a good Christmas film doesn't have to be complex. It just has to be, uh,
It has to make you feel good.
yeah, it has to be like a kind of a message, and it makes you want to watch it again because it's like a nice thing, not
Yeah.
a scary fucking thing.
I think that's why Hallmark movies always become huge around Christmas, because they're always just very generic plots. Everything's very obvious. People aren't terribly complex in them, and they usually have just a very warm and wholesome message at the end.
Yeah.
And
Ooh. Oh
what?
god. Sorry.
No, no, go on. What were you gonna say?
Is this a Christmas film? Right? Because if it is, it's a fucking winner.
What movie?
Ice Age.
I wouldn't call that a Christmas movie.
Is it not? I mean, obviously, with the place that it's set, you could obviously say it's like always Christmas.
Well,
Um,
just because it's cold, by that logic, it's always Christmas in Siberia.
but I don't know. It's very Christmas, and I feel like we always used to watch it at Christmas. I mean,
Maybe.
that film though, hilarious, adorable, and I've seen that film so many fucking times, and yet I still get the urge to watch it occasionally.
Yeah, I've actually
Not
saw
talking
that
about the
movie. I
sequels.
saw that movie when it first came out in theaters. But I can't remember seeing it too many times after that. It was a good movie.
Yeah.
You're right. I enjoyed it, like start to finish.
It
But
even has an emotional message. Like, oh my god, and the kid like hugging Manny's tusk at the end,
aw.
and the like ah
There are a lot of movies out there, but you're right. I think I agree with you. Is that Christmas? You really want to have just some feel good movies.
yeah. It's a roller coaster.
Yeah. Although then you have movies like I mean, A Christmas Carol is one that it has a uplifting ending, but the way they get there is very grim.
Yeah. It's almost a grim fairy tale kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh.
Hmm.
Well, do you have any other Christmas movies, media to talk about, or can we wrap it up there? Because I'm excited to give you your quiz.
Ooh. Whiz me up, Daddy.
That was weird. All
Right.
right. This has been segment 2 of the TMCJ podcast, our media segment. Continuing with our Christmas special, we will be back in just a minute where I will give the first quiz that I've done to Blue.
Yeah, and I'm gonna suck at it. Be right back!